Good morning students. Welcome to the digital classes of Lalbagh Girls Intermediate College. This is Ma'am Spring in her education class, and this education class is for class 12th. Class 12th we are doing chapter attention and interest, and in this lecture of mine I'll be telling you that what are the kinds of attention distraction and what are the measures of securing attention. So let us begin with our topic. There are two kinds of attention distraction. One is your continuous distraction and the other one is discontinuous attraction. So when there are regular distraction in attention, that is called continuous distraction. There may be regular noise coming from the factory situated before a school. The students would face continuous distraction in their attention due to that noise. We become accustomed to such noise and accordingly adjust our affairs. But the discontinuous distraction means when our attention is disturbed, when the noise is not regular. The noise is not regular, but after a gap, the attention would be disturbed whenever there is noise. So there are two types of distraction in attention, that is continuous and discontinuous. Continuous is a regular type of noise coming, and discontinuous distraction is that after certain interval of time we get noise from the outside world. So the main disadvantage of distraction of attention is that it suspends our activities. Though distraction of attention is influenced by age, health, interest, attitude and abilities of the person concerned, yet we should take care that attention remains intact, which may be done with the application of deeper concentration. So now let's do that. What measures of securing attentions are? There are many determinants that affects attention of a child in the classroom. The teacher makes use of these determinants while teaching in the class. There are some factors that make students pay more attention to what is being taught in the class. So number one is the proper classroom atmosphere. When atmosphere of the classroom is not proper, the students cannot pay attention to what is being taught in the class. And therefore, a teacher must maintain calm and worth learning atmosphere in the class. Creating such atmosphere in the class is prime duty of the teacher. That is why teacher makes a class discipline at first and then it starts the teaching. Second, preparation of the teacher. The teacher should have proper knowledge of the subject he or she is going to teach. Preparation before going into class can help a lot in it. The teacher should be sure that he can present the subject matter in an interesting manner. If the teacher is not very well at the subject, there is no chance that the students will pay attention to it. The next is the teaching methods. Attention is never stationary. It deviates if a student pays attention to a particular subject. So the teacher should make use of observation method, practical method and playway method. And there are various other methods too to pay attention towards the studies of the child. While presenting the subject matter, it certainly catches the attention of the students. Then we have the changed subject matter. If a teacher presents the subject in a changed and an interesting style, the students will definitely pay attention towards the subject matter. Then we have the inducing interest in the student. We know that the interest and perception are two phases of the same coin. When interest is induced by any means, the students perceive the same in a better way. That is why it is essential for a teacher to present his or her subject in a proper manner. Then ideal behavior of the teacher. It is hard fact that good behavior of a teacher makes the students pay attention in a better way, and if the teacher is not behaving in a proper manner, then students will definitely not pay attention in the subject matter. The teacher must behave with sympathy and with affection. Use of material aids is the another measure of securing attention. In order to make the chapter more interesting, the teacher should take the help of material aids. This would create interest in his or her students, and they would study with great attention and concentration. Next is the relationship between the previous knowledge and the new knowledge of children. This is very useful requirement of concentration, of attention. When the teacher delivers his lectures in such a manner that there is developing of relation between the earlier knowledge and the new knowledge of the students, then definitely the students would be helped in the concentration of attention. Next, we have the knowledge of instincts of the child. The teacher should first acquire the knowledge of the instincts of the students, and only then should proceed to impart education to his students. The students concentrate more when taught according to their instincts. The next measure is of encouraging children's effort. Only those teachers succeed in their mission who generate activity in their students by giving recognition and encouragement to their efforts. This active concentration is nothing but the attention. This is the attention seeking behavior of the child. Then we develop interest in the subject. This is the responsibility of the teacher to develop interest in the subject. The attention would become fixed if the teacher succeeds in creation of interest in the subject being taught. Interest is a great source of developing attention. Then the next is subject must be related to practical life. Usually it is found that the subject being taught have no relation to practical life of the students, and if they have any practical utility, they are being taught in such a manner that the students do not understand their practical uses. As a consequence, the students fail in the application of concentration and attention. Hence, it becomes the duty of the teacher to discuss the subject along with the practical approach in life. Then we have the inclusion of simple topics. If the topics being taught are far above the mental standard of the students, they would not pay any attention. Therefore, only those subjects should be included in the curriculum which are simple and suitable for the mental efficiencies of the child. Then we should have sufficient leisure. In a state of fatigue, no student would pay attention towards his studies. Hence, there must be proper rest between teaching hours. Then we have the next measure as the learning by doing and experiences. Teachers should provide the opportunities of learning by doing and through experiences. This method has proved to be great value for the fixing of adequate attention. So, these are the various measures which secures attention of a child in a particular subject, and if they are being followed, then the better attention is expected from the children. So this is all about today's lecture, and in the next lecture of ours we'll be doing that what is the utility of attention in education. Thank you.